Big Five Comedy Show is back at Monte Casino for another run after last year's sold-out show, right? And I'm joined in studio by Schoonraad, who's here to tell us about what the show's about and basically who else will be joining him. Good morning, Kurt. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Caesar. Thanks for having us.
It's always a pleasure. So tell us about the Big Five Comedy Show, first of all. Let's say I'm not a comedy fan, I'm not aware of what's going on. What is the Big Five Comedy Show?
But if it's your first experience with South African stand-up comedy, it is a must in that you've got five of arguably South Africa's finest technical stand-ups on one stage. Just to put it into perspective, it's exceptionally hard to get all of these five people in the same country, let alone the same room. So to have them on the same lineup is fantastic. So we've got a Tatson Konzo, we've got a Skulk Poseidonhout, we have got John Flismus, Stuart Taylor, and myself, Kurt Schoonraad, on the lineup. All of us representing exceptionally different styles over the last 20 years or so. It's a must-have if you want to get in touch with what stand-up is and what the best and the highest echelon of South African stand-up is at the moment.
Okay, so the two younger guys, I think Tats and Skulk,
Yep.
weren't part of last year's lineup, right?
No, they weren't.
So who was in the Big Five last year? I know it doesn't matter now.
It was, I think, Jason Goliath joined us last year, and Nick Rabinowitz is included in that lineup as well. So literally, it's the cream of the South African stand-up crop, really.
And people always go, okay, so what exactly is stand-up if you're not aware and you're not part of the culture? But if you do know the culture, you'll actually know that there's a lot going on in South Africa where people can get content from, right?
Oh, indeed.
So politically, which is what we cover here, like pretty much every day, how much of that do you use to draw your material?
Well, the truth is where I don't actually write the material myself. I'm like a comedy medium. It comes through me, and I tell you what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And somehow that translates to stand-up comedy. Essentially, we live in an exceptionally stand-up comedy-rich environment. We've got 11 languages to start off with, official ones, and those don't include the unofficial ones. Right in that 11 over there, there's a lot of material to discuss there. And then there's so many different cultures. There's so many different parts of the country that are completely different from other parts of the country. So we've got so much. We've got a really rich and deep understanding of the human condition.
Yeah.
And stand-up comedy is literally about pointing those out. What our jobs are, we hold up mirrors and go, check what your ex doing.
And then how much of that is, because obviously body language is a part of communication as well, right?
Indeed.
So I'm going to use you an example. Just looking at you, I want to laugh now. You got a funny face, right? Look at Skulk, you want to laugh.
Yeah.
He's got a funny physique, a funny dress sense, everything, right? How much of that is actually part of the act? Or did you always look like this and you're just like, you know what, actually, maybe I should go to comedy? Or do you cut your hair the way you do because you're a comedian?
Well, for me, I ended up being a stand-up on a default level. I was the funny guy at the back of the class and graduated to the funny guy around the braai, and then somewhere along the line, someone gave me a microphone. But it is all of that. What most people don't understand is that stand-up is you're being entertained on about 4 or 5 different levels. There's tone and pace. There's the intelligence of the gag, and then there's the gesticulative language, and eventually when you drop the punchline, it all comes together, and people go, wow, that's fantastic. I'm being tickled from the inside, and I'm not sure why they're doing it, but there's a formula to it.
And then did you have a formal job?
No, this is all I do. This is all I do. I do the odd movie here and there, or I do some radio work, but essentially, there are many South Africans right now that make a living out of being performers.
So should I buy the tickets online or should I buy the tickets when I get to the door? What do you recommend?
I recommend you buy them on CompuTicket. I do believe they're selling fast. I mean, the first show's tonight and is the following one tomorrow night. And it's happening at Monte Casino at the theatre. And I would highly recommend you go to CompuTicket and purchase them there. You might be a little disappointed if you get to the door and they're sold out already.
And there's a very diverse, I guess, lineup, as you say. Like, everybody speaks about different things. Flismus, for me, is one, and no disrespect, right? No. But one of the most intelligent comedians I think we have in the country. We ran a poll maybe 2 months ago. We were saying if there was a comedian who would be a president or a political leader, Flismus would be that guy.
Flismus is a real stalwart of the South African comedy business. Most people don't know this, but he's most probably the first big South African comic we've had. Right at the beginning. I think I watched him on TV for the first time. I remember my dad sitting there and I was like, I could do that. And eventually I got into stand-up, and Flismus was part of that. And we've become good friends since, and colleagues and all of the rest of that. And there's a very interesting side of Flismus right now, is that he's going to retire from stand-up.
Why? Why do you want to retire from stand-up? You can do this thing. You can do this thing until you guys are literally like 70.
Exactly.
And also, I'm giving it away now, but comedians make a lot of money. Take my word for it. These guys make a lot of money for, what, 2 hours worth of work?
An hour most of the time. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So why is he going to retire?
Well, he's got other interests, of course. He's what most people don't know about Flismus as well. He's a businessman, you know. So, I mean, I believe he's doing his MBA over there. So he's going to be approaching South African business and trying to help them in their business strategy and stuff. He's very good. He's a very smart man, as you have your poll figured out. Yeah?
And then tell me, how long will you be doing stand-up for? And if I come there, what should I be looking forward to? Because Stuart's going to be hosting, right?
Indeed.
And then you guys are doing sets.
Indeed.
Okay, so how does it work? Do all 4 of you do sets every night, or do you alternate in 2 and 2?
Well, what we do is all 4 of us go on stage every night for about 20, 25 minutes each. Stuart introduces the acts and keeps the audience warm in between. And then you get to just literally witness some of the best South African stand-up there is to be seen out there. And I mean, I take myself out of that equation. I look at the other 4 acts. They're all fantastic, all exceptionally good at what they do, all at the highest level of what they do.
And then there's you.
Well, you know, I'm just lucky to be playing along, man. I'm cool. I'm considered an OG now. I've got a bit of galvanizing going on here, so I get invited for different reasons. You know?
Thank you very much for joining us. We wish you all the best. Go out there and watch Big 5 Comedy Show starting tonight, and then I'm assuming tonight will be sold out, but try and get tickets for tomorrow night. You can tweet us as well if you've got any questions at 405 Mornings. Don't forget the hashtag Breaking Dawn on 405. We'll be back.